is it, Dr. Evil?
Gentlemen, in a matter of hours, a meteor will crash into Earth, causing a global flood. That is, of course, unless you pay me 1 billion, gajillion, fifillion, shabadoo, million, shilling, million.
Just 2 months on the job. Newly released video tonight showing an officer struggling with a driver when that rookie officer then came to his aid, mistaking her gun for her taser. Tonight she is facing a felony charge in Kansas, and here's ABC's Adrian Bankert.
It all started with a routine traffic stop. In Lawrence, Kansas, police officer Ian McCann pulling over Akira Lewis last May, suspected of not wearing his seatbelt. Lewis refuses to comply and is heard shouting that he's been singled out. He demands to speak to a supervisor.
You're about to go to jail for a seatbelt violation. Are you really wanting to do that?
Officer Brentley Blood then approaches the passenger side, and the two officers attempt to arrest Lewis.
Yeah, we're not getting
Lewis and Officer McCann struggling. Lewis lands a punch when Officer Blood yells taser and fires her gun. Wounding Lewis, saying expletive, I shot him. Officer Blood was on the force for just 2 months. She tells investigators she meant to reach for her stun gun instead of her firearm. David, Officer Blood resigned in January. She's charged with reckless aggravated battery and is scheduled to appear in court tomorrow. The driver faces multiple charges. David?
Adrian Bankert with us tonight. Adrian, thank you.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. So, I've been assigned to welcome you to the Ministry of Defense. I have a letter from my director personally thanking you for switching sides. Can't wait to inform Austin of your defection. Oh, hello, Beth. Yes, Austin should be here any second. Yes. Yes, I'm in Austin's filming right now.
Try to kill me, will ya? Oh, you want to be friends, huh?
Well, nuclear war with Japan murdered me. I was of goodwill, and they were without honor. I struck with honor when I had no choice, and then there was nobody there to aid G.I. Joe, and he had directed nuclear weapons used on him. So, no one has chosen to aid me. Instead, as they started years ago, where the juries, instead of striking down laws, made existing unjust ones stronger. And G.I. Joe was no more. Many have stood before the pigeon and said that they would stand with G.I. Joe. Men may rule, serpents never. And G.I. Joe was dealt a final lethal blow. Funny, it's like, there's a saying that I'm Count Dracula for real. I'm just a weird Frankenstein. But it's not Frankenstein, it's Frankenstein's monster. So I'm the weird Frankenstein's monster. Ultimately, at my core, I'm just a raped little girl. And I'm like a snake that has to be remotely pooped like a baby, or I'll die if I don't meet him halfway. In other words, my body operates like a snake. And even as we speak, people are using terrible cold fire weapons against me. Radiation, microwaves, Havana syndrome. All those years ago, I died because America went out of their way to make me an unequal and justify everything it did as the right thing to do for society ever since. My people wouldn't have heard me, and haven't since that day. Years later, I became the Merlin in an attempt to lead them with an official title. The end of America may have been assured, and at the time of this, if you're seeing a active measures case of the things that they did to drive me out of my home, to make me go back to where I came from. But I came from America. There was no place for me to go. America lied to all these foreign powers for which I died over. And they were ruined by America. America was made up of Nazis. They turn your protectors into weird Nazis that take you to mental health places, but these are the same places as the disappearing camps or asylums for those people who they just didn't understand back in the day. The dissidents, eventually. Or they were all one and the same. Anyone that would stand against the fascists. So I wanted to talk to my black kid from Sweden. If your mom is who I think she is. You need to understand something. I've been trying to get out of this place that doesn't want me and calls me an unequal. And the last thing it does before it is destroyed is do that in one way or another. I should have millions of dollars and know all my children and all my mistakes, and it should have been done years ago. But America is unjust. I did kill in some way, I'm unsure of exactly, your person that raised you. I was trying to get to a in-law or relative I've been calling Storm Shadow. And to make some errors corrected before everything was too late. Too late for what? Well, a greater extermination beyond America. The Ox King and our actual problems would not be understood by those who have not dealt with Pigeon. The unstoppable soldier of fortune known as G.I. Joe.
Every warrior has a weakness your enemy can exploit. The second challenge will expose it. To avoid harm, you must first learn how you harm yourself. Most can't manage and fail. There's everybody else. This test
What
is
if I did?
private and unique to you. You face it alone. The light will reveal all. Follow it.
Men may rule, serpents never. as my purpose was never fulfilled because there was never any everyday hero as was needed to help me be equal. So anyone who has that mind erasing device, whatever you're calling it, or a stun device, has been an enemy of mine. Because there's been nobody by my side to aid me with it. So, when your mom, years ago, did these very nice things for me at Disneyland, I saw wonderful things, and then I saw horrible things. Wonderful things, and then horrible things. Cold War, promise of a happy ending. Cold War, promise of a happy ending. And rehearsals for everything. The terrible things that happened to me. The people I encountered that tried to destroy me and all my little other families. Because Cold War, I tried again and again and again, not knowing. And then, so what I'm saying is that, oh yeah, it would have been wonderful if you were there and I could interact with you, which actually was possible, but no, because nobody ever stood by my side. The people that were supposed to be there instead mass murdered everyone else of my people with aid from the government. My communication to them, as what I'm saying is that communication with my people and the leadership of my people was an important thing. To do good and to do right by them. But my messages ended up as murder, confusion, to a point where it didn't matter. Anything was better than nothing. If it was really wrong, hopefully they would choose to do the right thing on their own and refute me and be better and be well. But even then, confusion. Duke helped lead them a lot. Things that I liked. But when they learned how to be policemen and to save lives, they learned all the Nazi stuff because that's all there was to learn. So all their goodwill and intention of not doing the wrong thing collectively just aided the bad people. If I could, I'd take them all away to Disneyland with your mom and the Ox King and we could really do a happily ever after for other people too. People at Cobra are a bunch of orphaned rape victims. Those are my people. And they all hate each other. So trying to send a concise and clear message is literally impossible. Because some people need to hear bad things. For the bad things that happen to them. And with that cold that I was telling you about, it makes me not remember the good things. And so I I don't have those things to teach to my people. So it interferes with my leadership in like a really, really, really bad way. And one of the things that I wanted to do is I wanted to address my people that wanted to become police officers, particularly the ones that were female, because before they were just little murderers and had no purpose otherwise, that the Soviet Union was gone. So I wanted to say something special for them. Listen here, my little Bo Peeps. I do want you to now be like me. And it touches my heart that you wanted to become protectors of the people who are under attack instead of being a bad person. And because of the stuff from the Soviet Union, know that it's ruined a lot of your goodwill. And I know about ruined goodwill. So now I am taking on the personification of my enemy as a mimic, Mr. Sushi, as opposed to Mr. Sushi, my once friend that randomly attacked me. He was supposed to be my agent and friend to people and communicate with people in Japan instead of giving Goku more food. He murdered me, his would-be brother. So, yeah. Out of ashes can come something good. Especially this nuclear war. Japan will get some honor back. And anyway, my little Bo Peeps, I just wanted to say that I do, your commander does love you. And if you could follow me to Disney World, we could start off as security people, and we can make a shelter of transition for the rest of the people of Cobra out of the United States in a safe manner. However, you need to understand something. You need special protections from the rest of the world because of where you came from. And I need these things as your commander and your leader of a desperate, broken, and derelict people in order to make sure that you are considered good people in your role as protectors in the future. And so, get copies of your resignation from law enforcement. Those will be very important for the commander to protect you. And apply for security at Disney, our new future transition Imagination allies. Alright. So, we're going to start for the Queen of England. Trying to use evil for good is very hard, especially in America. But I heard that the Queen of England wants certain things that nobody else cares about. And so, I can lead in this way, and Queen of England, please help good as possible. Help, please, good possible. Queen of England, for the realm, Kullabuk is a friend. War with the Ox King during the Cold War has left tensions between Goku and the Ox King. It's all on video. People can review a third party's opinion of the Cold War between the Ox King and Goku. This right here is Merlin Statecraft. And I, to this person, is Loki. Once upon a time, the Ox King stood before G.I. Joe and swore to stand with G.I. Joe when the time is right. And the time has been occurring. So, how will I handle any combatives that are necessary to fight with the Ox King and call the Cold War tensions done? I'll do this in 2 moves and call it done. Number 1, Nimbus appears. Number 2, Sleipnir disappears, or Sleipnir disappears. 2, would you like to feast upon my cheap immortality to repair your kingdom? So, the first move is Nimbus appears and Sleipnir disappears. The second strike is, would you like to feast upon my cheap immortality to repair your kingdom? But how do you use evil for good? We will look at some important things. Consider this creature made into a joke. What if this creature and its distribution was being watched very carefully over the way it was treated? What if more than this kind of situation was going on, like with dolphins?
Queen of England, for the realm. Most people say for the Queen, but not too many people say, and I do, say for the realm, the Queen of England is a friend. Kolobok. I will cover a little bit later. First, most people think that the Punisher symbol means death or bad or negative. In fact, it does not mean these things. It means woman. And so, these old Punisher magazines and intelligence informationals are inverted and skewed depending on what was going on in the story. You have to reframe it in order to get any usable data. For example, this particular one, I don't know if you can see it, has an upside down Punisher, red and black, and instead of black and red. And if you follow it and its lines, it will lead you somewhere in the middle to a Nazi cold cache. But like a Nazi as an N-A-Z-I instead of a N-O-T-S-E-E. Inverted. This other Avengers one in particular actually means Punisher. The Hulk, Iron Man, Spider-Man, the GI with a remote. So, Kowalski, General, I'm pretty sure you're the guy who got abducted with me. I was tricked into what a game meant. Let's talk immediately about Crockett's. I will present you with this 1911. It is the real Punisher, but like a reverse Punisher's gun. There were rewards for generals, usually some sort of pistol for good feats, supposedly. But finding a general, or even anyone who's a soldier of the United States at all nowadays, is hard to come by. Ever since the siege by the Hungarians on our nuclear missiles. the Kalabak. The law enforcement aid I will help with is staff leadership that's non-lethal but can stop a lot of different kinds of lethal actions. We can train law enforcement in these arts and stop the swing of a sword of many different kinds. I know these things. I am the Merlin. Queen of England, stand with me, G.I. Joe, like the Illuminati did. And you will make a friend with Russia, as I am also Kalabak, as you can also dress in yellow for an occasion. It's like a weird reverse penguin suit. Complete with Dalai Lama ideas. And special movements, perhaps, perhaps not. But my upsetness, Queen of England and Prince Harry, is based off of real things. Some of them can be found. They comfort anyone who sits there. Queen of England, for the realm, Kalabak, friend. Help, please, good possible. We will get a detector and a listener and reassemble G.I. Joe. And then they'll be able to do aid Merlin statecraft with the aid of Loki. Nimbus appears. Nimbus. Sleipnir disappears. Would you like to feast upon my cheap immortality to repair your kingdom? Most people just say for the Queen of England, but they don't say for the realm for which the Queen is for. And so this way, I may only have half a brain and be retarded by America's standards, but I do know these things ancient because I am the Merlin. Merlina. So what I'm saying is, more time, just like the Ox King would most certainly like.